Hey guys, how y'all doing? Just on my way home from the grocery store, picking up some stuff for the week. Thought I'd do another video. Hey, what the heck? Soon I'm going to be doing these videos in sunlight on a regular basis. I'm very excited for it. The sun is coming. Glory be and mercy me. Today's conversation, we're going to be talking about Erin O'Toole, specifically Erin O'Toole's recent denunciation of white supremacy. I think the easy statement to make, too little too late there, Erin, right? Too little too late. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the anti-white supremacy party. Now that it's incredibly obvious what the end result of white supremacy is, what the end result of Trump support is, too little too late, I'd say, bud. We saw Erin O'Toole when he stood up in front of the nation and was asked, hey, you're saying Canada first. Isn't that a lot like Donald Trump saying America first down in the States? And Erin O'Toole's response is, it is exactly like that. Well, here we are. We see what the end result of that is, mate. January 6th, insurrectionists take over the Capitol building, right? We see what happens when people ally themselves with white supremacy and radical racists on the far right. Standing up after it's become obvious is a lot like standing up after a house fire has already burnt everything to the ground and saying, you know, arsonists are bad. Like, we know. And we knew all along that Erin O'Toole, as well as the Conservative Party, had a white supremacy issue. We knew all along. Like, you don't need to do too much analysis to find out that, like, hey, if a guy shows up on rebel media constantly, if a guy is constantly being circulated in white supremacist pro-Nazi groups, hey, if a guy is standing up in front of the nation and saying, you know, the genocide that we did against the First Nations people, you know, those residential schools where we kidnapped a bunch of kids and we put them into white people's homes, where we attempted a cultural genocide. Yeah, you know what? Those people meant well. You know, if you're a guy that's actually saying that, maybe you've got a white supremacy problem there, Erin O'Toole. And the fact that you're standing up now, after the nation has repudiated you, after the nation has pegged you for what you are and what you support, and saying, oh, hey, you know, white supremacists, I condemn them. You know what it comes across? It comes across with a little wink and a nudge and a smile is what it comes across as. It comes across as insincere. Like, we have a pretty good idea that the white supremacists, the neo-Nazis that exist within the Conservative Party, and the people who are pro-Trump even, who still exist within the Conservative Party, the people who are still defending this obvious, flaccid idiot in Donald Trump, and who wish to bring his brand of politics to Canada, make no mistake about that, who still exist within the Conservative Party. We understand. We understand that what Erin O'Toole is doing is playing politics. And the white supremacists within his party are not going to take this recent, sudden shift seriously. They're not going to look at that and be like, wow, Erin O'Toole is really actually serious about actually condemning white supremacy. We actually have to stop engaging in this activity. They're not going to take that seriously. For the same reason why people in Ontario no longer take the pandemic seriously. Because they know their leader's not going to do anything about it. They know their leader's not actually acting. They know their leader isn't actually enforcing anything, right? They are pretty aware that the reason why Erin O'Toole needs to come out and say something like this, that he's against white supremacy, is for the same reason why, when Erin O'Toole was elected, he stood up and started saying, oh, Conservatives are actually the Union Party. We're actually the party for the workers, right? Like when Doug Ford said that he was for the people. Because they understand fundamentally that if they are going to gain power, they have to do it by lying, right? That they don't actually have an ideological platform that the populace will accept. They don't actually have any ideas or thoughts, right? So they have to take ideas and thoughts that they know are popular and lie about them. Just like Doug Ford did, just like Jason Kenney did, just like Brian Pallister did, and just like Andrew Scheer, and just like Erin O'Toole, right? They know that they have to lie. And if you are willing to accept white supremacists in your party, which the conservatives definitely are, like, they definitely have white supremacists in their party. I mean, take a look at someone like Derek Sloan, right? Derek Sloan has outright said that if he were the Prime Minister of Canada, he would pass legislation to ban protests, to go after Antifa people. So if you are anti-fascist, what does that make you? And I've heard it put forward an argument that, oh, maybe they're just clumsily, getting into this. They mean well. They have good intentions. Well, yeah, every fascist has good intentions. Fascists, the Japanese fascists during World War II, were explicit in how positive they viewed their actions, right? The Nazis viewed their actions very positively, that we must do this for the good of the nation, this sort of thing. So I don't buy into this argument at all. And we have to be very suspicious of a party who is suddenly on a dime, now that they are within striking distance of power, suddenly on a dime are beginning to change their tune, now that they know that they are not going to win an election with white supremacy, with trickle-down economics, by alienating workers, by telling them to get a job. We should be very suspicious of a party which all of a sudden is saying, oh yeah, we're pro-worker. Yeah. No, for real, guys, we're pro-worker. And all of a sudden is saying, oh no, white supremacy is bad. Days after the logical conclusion of white supremacy takes the place over. Like, think about how bad you have to be as a party to continuously lose an election to a guy that came out in blackface in front of the nation singing Deo. Like, the last election, is so embarrassing for Canada. Justin Trudeau comes out in blackface singing Deo in front of all of us. Something we're all supposed to forget, by the way, now that he has a nice sparkly beard. Oh, he must have learned his lesson. He has a beard on now. So Justin Trudeau comes out wearing blackface, and the entire nation goes, ooh, that's racist. So we take a look over to the right, and we go, oh no, that's racist, right? Ugh. And so then what do? We take a look over to the left, and we go, hey, what's with the turban? You know you're messing up. You know you're in bad territory. You know you're losing because on your own merits, when you can't attract these types of voters to your side, right? And it's time for the Conservative Party to have some serious introspection, because I would love for there to be a credible party to vote for. I don't want to vote Liberals. Like, I think Liberals are do-nothings and they sit around and they talk a big game. But what have they actually done, right? Every single time they pretend as though they want to do something and they gather support of the populace behind that, like think electoral reform, think a basic income, think this sort of stuff, they totally do everything they can to undercut, right? And then abandon it when it becomes politically not salient for their own personal power. Like the CERB is exactly this. Like, just today we're having a conversation about what to do with our staff, right? And the confusion about what these programs are is very powerful, right? It's very obvious that there's a lot of confusion about who applies for what and what applies for who, and are they supposed to get EI, or are they supposed to get on the CRB or the CSB or the Medicare benefit or any of this kind of stuff, right? What benefit are we supposed to be telling them to do? What are we supposed to be doing, right? And there's just confusion, and it's very difficult for me to conclude that this is anything but purposefully done, right? That we have a Liberal Party who is making things confusing and difficult for us on purpose while walking around in blackface singing Deo. And you can't beat them, right? You got to start having some serious introspection into who you are and what you're representing, right? Like, the Conservative Party needs to genuinely have a purge. Like, it needs to, if it, like, here's the paradox of the Conservative Party. The reason why they keep catering to this radical right that exists in their party, and that definitely exists in their party, is because they're like, we have to get votes. We have to get votes, right? Those are votes. Those are voters. These racist white supremacists are voters. We have to get them. But for every one racist white supremacist that they get into the fold, they alienate 4 Canadians, right? And if they did what needed to be done, and purged their ranks of their fascists, right? And it's obvious who they are, right? It's obvious. You can find them. And purged their ranks of their fascists, then they would actually be able to turn around and have political credibility. And then they would be able to turn to the nation and be like, we purged our party of white supremacists and fascists legitimately, and we are going to move forward as a party for the workers, for Canadians. I think then they would have credibility. I think then Canadians would be able to listen to them. I think then they would be able to start taking them seriously. And Erin O'Toole would be able to stand up and be like, I have made mistakes. I admit those mistakes, and I am trying to set those mistakes right to move forward. But instead of that, we get just a bunch of like, oh, my statements were this, and, you know, there's that, and excuse making. We get excuse making out of Erin O'Toole. We get excuse making out of the Conservative Party, right? And at no point do I believe they are a party that is willing to do what must be done. And moving forward, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the party that's willing to do what must be done. And catering to white supremacists while simultaneously pretending as though you're anti-white supremacist, just like you're pretending to be a party for the workers while kowtowing to corporate power every single decision you've ever made in the last 40 years. We can see through it. It's very obvious, especially now that your provincial surrogates have so obviously like laid down the cards, right? Every decision Doug Ford has ever made has been on behalf of corporate power. Every decision Jason Kenney has ever made has been on behalf of corporate power. Every decision Brian Pallister has ever made has been on behalf of corporate power. You guys don't give a fuck about the workers. And the fact that you're willing to stand up and pretend like you are while simultaneously doing absolutely nothing to show it just tells me that you think we're very stupid. And you know what? Maybe we are. That's the gambit, right? Maybe we are very stupid. Maybe we are that stupid. We're stupid enough to continue voting for Justin Trudeau. We're stupid enough to not abandon the both of you, right? So yeah, maybe this will work. Who knows? But if you ask me, what would actually work is if you actually became a party who fought against fascism, starting with your own ranks. Anyway, this is going to be the end of me, guys. Like, share, subscribe. If you hit the like button, it doesn't cost you a thing to do. Hit the like button. Ding. Little like button. That sends the algorithm around. It lets everybody know, hey, there's a robot that grabs a hold and it shows me over and over again. It's free to do. Please just ding that little like button. If you want to do a little bit more than that, hit share. This is actually more powerful because sharing it about is word of mouth, and word of mouth is the most effective way to spread a message around. If you care about this message. And if you really, 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 really care, you can actually donate to my Patreon down there. Please, this is what I'm doing while working a full-time job at a toy store. Imagine what I could do if this was my full-time job. I could do interviews. I could do long-form things. We could have big chat conversations, all that. The goal of this channel right now is to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm well on my way, and I hope that you'll join me. I hope you're all doing well out there, guys. It's tough these days. It's tough. We don't have a lot of options as workers. We don't have a lot of options, and the options that we do have are steadily being eroded and steadily being taken away from us. And we need to fight back. We need to organize, and we need to push forward. And we need to know who our enemies are, and the Conservatives are certainly our enemies, no matter what game they say. All right, like, share, subscribe, smoke a doob, high five a giraffe, do all the things, and most importantly, good luck. We're going to need it.